Hello everybody, welcome back to another remote sensing lecture video. And in this lecture video, I want to wrap up our discussion on the elements of image interpretation by talking about date. Right, so when the image was taken. Right, and so this sort of plays into the same idea that location did, where we can use date-specific contextual cues to help us identify things in the image. And I'm going to go through probably the best example of a cyclical date event. Then I also want to sort of make note that you can have specific, so you can have cyclical date context. Right, so this is going to be things like seasons, or maybe annual events. But then you can also have specific date context. Like this could be natural disasters, not natural. This could be natural disasters, right? Like you could imagine that imagery would look very different right after a fire had happened, right? And knowing the date of the image and then knowing the location, again, getting back to this importance of location, right? If you know that that particular location had been recently burned by a fire, that's going to drastically change your interpretation as opposed to if there had not been a fire, or if maybe you didn't know that there had been a fire. Right, so specific date context is these sort of one-off things like natural disasters, and then cyclical date context is going to be things like seasons, right? And you can imagine just from your everyday life experience, right, that things look different in the winter than they do in the spring and in the summer, and they look different in imagery as well. So knowing the date or the season is going to affect your interpretation. So I know this kind of makes sense, but what I want to do is just really quickly show an example of what that looks like in imagery. So this is the same location, right? This swimming pool right here is this swimming pool right here. And I want you to compare the two, right? Between this would be spring, summer, and this would be fall, winter. Right? And even if I didn't tell you that, hopefully you would guess that by the fact that we have green vegetation here, and here the vegetation is mostly lost its leaves. Right? But again, we're sort of going backwards. We're assuming the season based on the vegetation, when in reality what we should be doing is saying, hey, we know that this image was taken in the fall or winter, so we're more confident that these are trees, given that. Versus over here, right, we're more confident that these are trees given that they're green. So hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully knowing the date of the image helps you contextualize your interpretation better. And again, this is just a specific example. I really want you to keep in mind that especially these date-specific contexts for things like natural disasters that are really important. So hopefully this makes sense. And as always, please reach out. Thank you.